Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my video about what's wrong with Prey. Now, the first thing I have to say is no matter whether you like this movie, you don't like it, you're indifferent, more and more over the next few years, and then eventually in about 5 years, every single movie is going to be like this. And I will explain. So this is the fifth Predator movie, but then there's been two other Aliens versus Predator, so whatever. It was announced a few years ago, and I remember everyone just kind of eye-rolled, because they're like, oh, Native American prequel female lead, this thing is going to be so woke, and I watched it yesterday, and it really isn't. Basically, the first half is solid, but a little slow. The second half is quite good. The main issue I have with it is not the female lead. It's that the female lead and her brother operate under a different set of physics than everyone else. There's not a lot of people in this movie. There's a small tribe, then there's a war party of braves, then there's some French trappers, and then there's the Predator. And all of the humans except for the female lead and her brother, they only do things that humans can do. None of them are doing flips. They just kind of look scared and yell and shoot guns or shoot arrows. They're not especially fit or smart or brave. Now, at first it looks like they're going to do that for everyone, but then you get to some fight scenes, specifically with the female lead and her brother, and they are acting like, what happened? They each had an entire team of stunt people behind them. So they're doing these flips and jumping and doing a little bit of wire fu. So that was my main issue. It didn't have anything to do with the female. By the way, is anyone pointing this out? Because I thought this was the most obvious thing in the world, and I've mentioned it to a bunch of people and nobody noticed. The female lead is a Disney princess. She is like 100% a Disney princess. From her looks to her motivations, she doesn't want to live the provincial life that her society has laid out for her. There's a point one time where she's leaving the village. She was supposed to go, pick berries with the women, and she doesn't want to do that. And she's walking across this plain with her dog, and I was like, this is the first song. This is where you have the first song in every Disney movie. I had friends saying this was woke. I was like, no, this is literally every Disney movie since 1990. Or was The Little Mermaid, like 1989? Yeah. It's the woman in the provincial society, and she doesn't want to live to the norms. She wants to do something else. So it's set 200 years ago, and they get just a lot of things right. One of my favorite parts was there's two scenes of the lead being woken up, and she just gets kicked. That's it. They didn't have an alarm clock back then. It was just whoever woke up first, they just went up and just kicked. People are like, hey, wake up, go do your job for the day. The lead is quite good. The only time she isn't good is when she's given some bad modern day writing, specifically her vocalizing what she wants in life, which is very kind of baldly put at the beginning. And there's a couple scenes later on where she's either kind of too tactical, for her station in life. And also there's just a couple parts where she's just emotionally validating herself, which is tiresome. But the movie works. It's quite good. And when I said all movies are going to be like this in 5 years, this was very basic. It was A to B to C to D to E. That was it. It was very simple. And it was not particularly political. It was not really woke. It was as woke as a Disney cartoon in 1989 was. Things got so crazy over the past few years that I think everyone is realizing that things went too far. And now they are wanting to reel it back. And, just doing a simple narrative like this is something that basically any production company can achieve. This is not a lofty goal. This is really simple. let's get the predator out there in the woods. They slowly learn about him. He takes some, hunting parties apart on the Native American and the French settlers. By the way, one thing I really liked about how they portrayed the Native Americans is they were not soulful saints. Her brother is essentially a Disney prince, but the other Braves are, they're just kind of just teenagers. One of the things that I thought was so cool is that the Braves were like 18 or 19. So they didn't look like, 40-year-old men. They were kind of wiry, borderline scrawny. They were a little immature. I was like, this is what Braves would be like. This is what soldiers are like now at the same age. There was some good weapons. There were some good gimmicks. There was a nice, not quicksand exactly, but it was like the peat moss version of quicksand. And that was just kind of cool. Like I said, very, very simple movie. You get, an attractive woman to play a lead character and put her through some basic adventure scenarios. I don't know if I was ever, it was never really scary. There was some good gore and kills. And overall, it was just solid. You're going to see a lot of stuff like this. You're going to have a lot of movies where you come out and people say, "How was it?" And you're like, "It was solid." And that's not an insult. The SJWs and cancel culture, it just really made everyone crazy for about 5 to 10 years. And we are relearning how to do simple things like make adventure movies. So anyway, it is a recommend. It's on Hulu. Hulu is this weird streaming service where nobody thinks they have it, but then you go to check and you have it somehow. I mean, I sign up for like random things and they're like, I think it was like Pizza Hut or something like that. They're like, you're entitled to a week of Disney Plus. So at some point in time, you were given some deal to try out Hulu for 30 days. You clicked on it, and then obviously it just started billing you, and you didn't even notice. Supposedly Hulu is the #1 fastest growing streaming service. I know they have The Bear, which is excellent. So yeah, watch The Bear and then watch this. It's a recommend. It's a mild recommend. For the first half, it kind of felt like homework. By the second half, I was like, oh, that was pretty good. And they do not have a mid-credits sequence, but they do this interesting thing during the credits where they do this kind of, simple type of animation, as if it was like, cave drawings or something. And you're like, oh, I remember that scene, I remember that scene, I remember that scene. And then they show one scene past the end, which is a couple of ships arriving, for a sequel. Will I watch a sequel? Yeah, if it's the same crew. I think the writer and the director did a good job at just keeping it really simple and achievable. And I know this might sounds like you're talking about like, I don't know, like it sounds like accounting. It's it's very dependable. We needed this. We need to relearn how to make movies and also to watch movies. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.